Hey Patreon. Sorry I haven't been putting any videos up, as you mostly all know. Still going through my craziness in life. Um, I'll give an update on that here in a little bit. But what I wanted to talk to you about is something I've talked about before. I'm not beating a dead horse, I promise. I think it's very important. And with the things that I'm going through right now, they've become more and more important to me, and I've become more and more aware of how important they are. And that is our community. The people around us, the people uh, that we're close to, that that are friends, our family, good close neighbors, people that help each other out, that sort of thing. That's what I'm talking about. Um, with all the things that I'm going through, uh, there are a few people that have really, stepped up and not even asked them to. They just have, and um, couple of people I didn't really even know before this all happened, and they just, out of the blue, I believe that they were sent to me by the Father, but out of the blue contacted me and have really become, close friends since then, and have been a major support in my life. Um, and then there's a couple other people that probably will be watching this video, that, I know that anytime, day or night, I can get a hold of them. If I need to talk to someone, pray with someone, cry on their shoulder, whatever it is. And it's made me become even more aware of how vitally important it is to have a community. Um, and I know you might be thinking, yeah, well, you're talking about, emotional support. What about, preparedness and stuff? Really, it's all the same. Um, Me personally, I've always been kind of a loner, kind of an outsider. I like individual people, but people in masses aren't necessarily my favorite thing to be around. So unlike some people that may have lots and lots of friends, I usually don't have a lot of them. And in some ways, I guess you could consider me kind of a lone wolf. Uh, you know, I get it that we need community, so I'm not against it like some people that would be lone wolves. But I guess maybe my behaviors are. So, um, I tend to do things on my own, and uh, you know, good or bad, I try not to bug people and ask for help and things like that. Uh, but I also realize that the things that we go through in life, whether they're an emotional, affecting us emotionally, or they're some type of physical situation, an SHTF or whatever it is, that we do need each other. Believe that we're created that way. We've always lived that way, um, of having that support, of needing each other. And when times get tough in our life, we need to have each other. We need to have that support system around us. Like I said, whether it's emotional, spiritual, or physical. And it's difficult. I think even more difficult in the day that we live in, the world that we live in. We have mass communication. I can communicate with someone on the other side of the world in seconds. Um, there's people everywhere. The global population is higher than it's ever been. Um, and yet, in the end, we're less connected to each other. Uh, we have less true, real relationships, most people, than we ever have in human existence. And I think that is something that's going to really hurt us as people. And so for those of us uh, of the preparedness mindset, those of us that uh, believe in the Father and serve Him and His Son, I think we need to realize how important it is to have a helping hand, whether in a literal sense or in a emotional sense. That we need that. Um, the people that have come into my life since all this has happened, man, I don't know what I would have done going through this without them. And I don't want to think about, what I would have done, because, the moments that I feel like I'm just at rock bottom, I'm at the end of my rope, that I can't go on, I get a phone call from someone, or I get a text message. Um, and it's it's been an amazing little support system that I have getting through this. Things are still bad, but at least I know that I have people that I can talk to and be around, and so it does make life a little bit easier. It's going to be the same way, in some type of physical SHTF. And what I'm going through is kind of, I guess, both physical and emotional, but what I'm talking about, big catastrophe, tornado, earthquakes, Armageddon, whatever it is. We need that support system. And so it's vitally important for you to start developing that now. You need to reach out to people, build those relationships. And it's hard. I know it's hard. It's hard for me to trust people because of just things I've gone through in the past. And I guess just the nature of the person that I am. It's hard for me to open up a lot of times. It's hard for me to really build that connective, trust. But it's something that we have to do. I'm not on here to bash lone wolves, because some lone wolves are just that way because they can't be any other way because of their circumstances. But the reality is that we need each other. We need people, and we need to rely on them, and they be able to rely on us. So whether it's a prepper mag, your neighbors, your community, your church group, Bible study group, whatever it is, your blood relatives, people that you consider family, that or brother from another mother, whatever it is, we need to be building that. And long distance relationships can work too. Maybe not work in a physical apocalypse, but in an emotional SHTF, they can definitely work. And so I want to encourage you from my own personal experience that that you need to get out there and build those relationships, work together, and build them so that they can be like we once were as people, where we had a community, where we really worked together, where we depended on each other. One of the downsides to living in the United States is that we're so independently minded, which is a good thing, but this is one of the negative effects of it, that we're so independently focused, that it's all about independence and my own independence, that we forget the vitally important part of our life of community, of being involved with each other and being dependent upon each other. Because, it makes life easier. It makes survival much more likely. It makes emotional hardships, easier to go through. And so in my little rant, I just, I want to thank you for the ones that's been there for me. Thank you for those that have reached out to me and contacted me. And I know I've not been as diligent as I should of thanking you and of communicating back and forth with you. But it means a whole lot to me, and it is just more proof of how important a community around us is. And that can take many shapes and forms, but it's still important. As far as my situation, not a whole lot has changed. I still don't know where my children are. Still haven't talked to them. My wife has communicated with me a little bit through text messages, but very little. Other things of trying to resolve this are slow moving, so right now it's just sitting back and waiting for the see how the Father plays this out in my life, and having faith in Him that He's in control, and that, you know, His will prevail through all this. So, you know, I still need prayers because it's still tough. Been a little over 2 weeks now that I haven't seen or heard from my children, know where they're at, and that's rough. So, but I want to thank all of you, and appreciate your prayers and your kind and thoughtful words, because life can be rough at times, but when we have each other and we have someone up there, our Father in heaven, that cares about us and is in control in our lives, we can make it through these things. It's just really rough going through them. All right, well, thank you all for watching Patreon. You guys and gals are awesome, and I don't say that enough, and I don't do enough for you. I apologize, but thank you.